Yes, sir. हेलो।
हेलो सर, लॉगिन नहीं आया सर अभी।
मैंने भेजा तो सर, देखिए भेजा सर मैंने वो, देखिए देखिए सर, देखिए। ओके सर, प्लीज चेक इट।
ठीक है सर, ठीक है।
बड़ा गुड इवनिंग अनुष्का साहिब, गुड इवनिंग। गुड इवनिंग ऑल ऑफ यू। वेरी गुड। 77 bio exam। वेरी गुड। गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग ऑल ऑफ यू बच्चे। आई होप एवरीथिंग इज फाइन। Good evening, all of you. I welcome you all of you to our class, ICSC. I hope all are fine. And our topic is still same. This is circulatory system. I was teaching you. And today is 11th. Good to see you, all of you. Just wait, my brother. Let me attach the mic. I think something is. Just wait. Let me attach the mic. I think. Just wait. Let me attach the mic here. Good evening, all of you. And let me test the mic. I think this is better. I was just setting this. Okay, and now please answer me. Is everything is? Please see everything is fine. This board is enough, and my voice audible. Clarity is there. I'm very happy, Shingarika. Your marks are quite good. 77.5 is great. Very happy with your marks. Good, girl. Okay. I think last time I was teaching you about. I taught you about WBC, and then I taught you about clotting also. Anybody can answer me? I hope I taught you this. Okay. Even I taught you about WBC. I taught you blood clotting. I taught you. Class, did I teach you about ABO blood groups also? Let me know. Anybody can tell me, please, brother. Nobody answering me. I think yesterday I taught you about. Now today I will be teaching you about. I teach about RS factor. I factor in pregnancy. RS factor in pregnancy. Let me tell you something about this. In our, if you talk about RBC, on this surface RBC, there are some antigen is one more antigen is there. This antigen is also called antigen D, or also called RH factor. This is present on our RBCs, and please keep in mind, if you talk about RH factor, which is also called antigen D, if we have RH factor is, if RH factor is present, if RH factor is present, we call it a person is RH positive. If in our blood group RH factor is absent, person is called RH negative. This you should know first. Okay, so point very simple. This is one more antigen, which is, as I told you, in RBC we have even antigen for blood group. It can be A, it can be B, it can be A and B, it can be no antigen. So there are four type of blood groups are there, which I already explained you. So on our RBC, sometimes there is antigen A, sometimes antigen B, sometimes antigen A and B, sometimes no antigen. And even there's one more antigen for RH factor. And on RBC only, there are so many pigments are there that is called hemoglobin. So these all things are present in RBC, red blood cells. So, but nobody's answering me. Am I audible? And things are still, everything is going fine. Anybody can answer me? I just ask you, everything is going fine, class? My voice is audible and there's enough light on the board. Anybody can answer me? Anybody? Is everything is going fine? Students? Anybody can answer? Okay, Archika, audible. Fine. Because last time, okay, that's good. Okay, thank you. So I was here. So you just keep in mind this. What I explained you just now. I was talking about this. So keep in mind this. Before I start this RH, before explaining this RH factor in pregnancy, you should know in our RBC, that is red blood cell, there is many components are there. There are many pigments are there. That is a hemoglobin, that is very important for absorbing oxygen or carbon dioxide, some gases. This one antigen, there are maybe antigen A or antigen B or A and B both or no antigen. According to this only, we can decide or we can understand about the blood group. If antigen A is there, means blood group A. If there is antigen B on this RBC, person would be known as with blood group B. A person is having A and B both antigen, then this type of blood group is called AB. A person with no antigen is known as blood group O. No antigen means blood group. No antigen is blood group O. Okay, this you should know. And then this RH factor is also known as antigen D, because this RH stands for rhesus. Actually, it's a term for the monkey. Actually, so first it was found in monkeys, so therefore name is RH. If you talk about whole world, if you talk about whole world, 85% are RH positive. Means if you talk about more or less about the whole population of the world, there are approximately 85% students persons are there who have RH factor in their blood. Those are without this factor, they are called RH negative. Means in on their blood group, this in their means antigen is absent. Fine. Next part. let me this is all about understanding. Let us take one case. Let us take one case. Suppose, understand like this, okay? Before I start with this, let me tell you this part also. This person is RH positive. Suppose this person is RH negative. Please understand this. If blood is given to this, if this person is donor and this person is recipient, what happen against this antigen? Because RH positive means this in this blood group antigen D is present. Antigen D means RH factor that is present. So against this RH factor, recipient blood would produce antibodies. These antibodies would destroy or kill these RBCs. And this is the big problem actually. And here there's a lot of problem with the blood, and so many issues will be there with the blood. Therefore, whenever we give blood or transfuse blood, always this is same. So RH positive blood should not be given to RH negative. But if RH negative, let us take one more example. If RH negative blood is given to RH positive, so no problem is there, because where RH negative means no antigen. RH negative means no RH factor. So antibodies are produced always against antigen. If RH negative blood is given to positive, there is no problem, because there would be no antibodies. There would be no antibodies would be formed against anything, because when it is RH negative, there is no antigen. When there is no antigen, there is no chance of production of antibodies. This is just for an understanding. So I hope I am clear. Always antibodies are produced against RH positive or RH factor when it is transfused to RH negative. If both are if both RH positive, no problem, no problem. Okay, but problem is only in this case when RH positive is given to RH negative, because this blood group would produce antibodies against this antigen, and when it is given to this blood group, so no antibodies would be produced, because if this is given to this, no antibodies, because antibodies are always produced against antigen. When RH negative is given to RH positive, no antibodies are produced, but there is no problem, okay, it is fine. But RH positive is given to RH negative, then antibodies are produced, because this recipient will produce antibodies against this RHD. This means antigen D. So antibodies are always produced by negative RH. Negative RH means I could say negative blood against this RH positive. Okay, I hope to hear I'm clear. Okay, fine. This is the basic I explained. No, let us understand this. Let's take one condition. Suppose if you take a condition of this, if you take one position condition, in this case, suppose father, suppose this case, father is father is RH positive and mother is RH negative. Let us take this case. Well, this stage case we have to be very careful. When father is RH positive and mother is RH negative, means in the blood of father antigen, this D or this Icse factor is present, and mother's blood Icse factor is absent. Okay. And if the baby and if this baby is RH, I can use the word, but actually normally we use this word fetus. Okay, baby is RS positive. Condition is this. This is one case I like to discuss with you. Okay, so this is something very important. So I have taken this case. Father is RS positive and mother is RS negative, but baby which is developing inside mother's womb, that is the fetus or embryo, that is RH positive. What will happen? Let's not explain, understand this part. This part is placenta, and this is it means this part is placenta, and if you see very carefully, there is all a diffusion. Means if you see this part very carefully, this blood is not in direct contact actually. The mother's blood, if you talk about this one, this is something like this, and it is something like this. If you talk about, let me explain this part to you. It is something like this. Understand this. Understand this. Okay. Then you understand better. This is the blood of mother, and this is the blood of baby. Means it is mother blood, and it is baby's blood. So this is something very important, and this whole part is placenta. My point is this: it means if you see or understand it very carefully, okay, if you understand it very carefully, that there is mother's blood and baby's blood or embryo's blood is never in direct contact. Always in from this part, diffusion takes place. Diffusion of gases, diffusion of food, whatever passed to this developing fetus or embryo, diffusion takes place in placenta. These two bloods are not in direct contact actually. Okay, so this something's happening here. This part I have magnified. Okay, I hope to here I am clear. Okay, fine. So up to, so it means mother's blood and baby's blood, these are not in direct contact. Only diffusion takes place from the placenta, and this part is called actually umbilical cord. Okay, this cord carries all the diffuse gases of food to the baby, and in turn they gives back carbon dioxide or urea to the mother. Okay, so more or less things takes place here from this placenta only. Let's take this example. In this case, what I discussed just now, during the, so even this fetus is RS positive, a mother is RS negative, nothing would happen. But during pregnancy, everything would be fine. But at the time of child's birth, at the time of childbirth, what will happen when child delivered? That time, there is some bleeding in placenta and from the umbilical cord. This part, okay. So during childbirth and during bleeding, because placenta is removed from here from the mother's womb. So during actually bleeding, during childbirth actually, child's blood, child's blood can sensis sensitize mother's blood. Problem is this, okay? So during childbirth only, as during childbirth, during the delivery of child, there is, because this is actually from this part. When baby is taken out, this part is cut, the umbilical cord is cut, and after that placenta is taken out of the body. During this all process, some blood of the baby may enter mother's blood. So this entering can then sensitize the mother's blood, and then step one, step two. Chances are there, mother, when there's entry of this blood, these are the RBCs, with RH factor. Okay, it means this entry of blood, from the baby to mother's blood, containing blood. When I say baby's blood, this is the baby's blood, this one containing RH factor. It would sensitize the mother's blood, and against this mother's blood would produce antibodies against this baby's blood, that is antibodies against RH factor. These antibodies would be produced, and these antibodies would be, these are the antibodies, these are antibodies against RH factor, or we can say antigen D. They would be present in mother's blood. So first child is safe. I repeat, so the first child is safe because after delivery, these antibodies would be produced within week. After delivery of 1 week, these antibodies are produced. Okay, but what is dangerous? What is dangerous and point to be noted? Point is this: if second in second pregnancy, condition in second pregnancy, if fetus again would be RH positive. Suppose in second pregnancy, she's again pregnant with the second child, and the child is again RH positive. Then what happen through this? Because these antibodies are very small protein. They are very small proteins, and these antibodies can cross this placenta. These antibodies can, from the mother's blood, as I told you, these blood would never mix, but from the mother's blood, these antibodies can diffuse, and they cross this placental membrane and enter into the baby's blood, second child, second fetus, and these antibodies can destroy, they can damage and destroy this baby's blood, and it may cause actually abortion and death of the child. Process is very complicated. I gave you basic points. Otherwise, actually, these RBCs are damaged. Then bilirubins are produced. These are not important in class. Okay. So I want to tell you only one thing. In second case, what I want to tell you, in case of second fetus, when it is again, if it is again RH positive, from the mother's blood, the antibody which are produced after first delivery, these antibodies against this RH factor would enter into fetal blood, and in this fetal blood, when these antibodies would enter, it may happen these antibodies can damage these RBCs of baby, and this baby the chances are there stillbirth of the baby or the abortion. Therefore, we should have good knowledge about RH factor during pregnancy, and therefore, this is the importance of this RH factor during any blood transfusion, especially in pregnancy. I hope up to here I am clear. Okay, fine. Let us take the next topic. Students, please let me help me. Did I teach you last time, but clotting of? Did I teach you the clotting of blood? Anybody can answer me? Anybody can answer me? Did I teach you last time, but clotting of blood? That's good. Okay, thank you. And I hope students, I taught you also ABU blood system also. I think Archika, I think I taught you this part. Now let me teach you about blood circulation. Let me tell you something about the heart first. In our body, you talk about our body. This is our okay. This is our lung. This part is called diaphragm. It is called actually diaphragm. Actually, when you say diaphragm, this G is silent. We write diaphragm and we pronounce diaphragm. Okay, this is a circular sheet just below this lungs, and this part is actually right part of the body. This part is left part of the body. This is something very important to understand. What no? You said, beta. Achika, what no? But ABU I taught you, na ABU blood group. Blood group I think I taught you. ABU. AB. Achika, I think I taught you, but this blood groups. Everybody can answer. Shinga, that's good. Okay, yes. So I was here, and if you talk about our heart is placed. This is the position of our heart. Okay. So if you talk about location of heart, it is between two lungs. It is between the lungs. First thing, heart is between the lungs, just above diaphragm. Okay, so this is something is between the lungs, just above diaphragm, and this heart is this pointed towards left side. This is the location. If in the examination it is asked about heart location, this is very simple, and no doubt from the outside is protected by the ribs. Okay, but location heart is this in the body. So heart is not present on the left side, but bigger part means I could say when I say left side pointed means actually this left ventricle, this side is more towards the left side, left ventricle. That is a left. When I say left ventricle, it is a one of the chamber of the heart. Okay, so when you write about the location of heart, it is between the lungs, just above diaphragm, pointed towards left side. This is the location of heart. Okay, next part. And when you talk about heart, as I'm teaching you, let me tell you about the around heart. If you talk about covering the heart, our heart is protected by covering. This is called pericardium. So this you should know. It means heart is protected by a covering that is called pericardium. And between this wall, there is one fluid is present, which is very important for the protection against any mechanical shock and work as a cushion. This fluid is actually pericardial fluid. These names you should know. Sometimes this type of question would be asked in examination. This you should know about. Acha. Okay, okay. Thank you, Beta. Okay, thank you, Archika. Okay, fine. Okay, so this you should know about the covering of the heart if you talk about pericardium and the fluid which is present inside these two walls. It is pericardial fluid, which is very important for protecting the heart against mechanical shock or it work as a cushion. Next part, understand. I'm drawing this heart and let me explain the different parts of the heart. This is something very typical, a simple diagram I'm trying to explain you about this. This will help you to understand this heart. But if you understand very carefully this part, these are then you understand better if I explain this part. Okay, I have reason why I have drawn like this. Okay, this is one septum. Fine. It is something like this. Understand this. Deoxygenated blood entered the heart from this blood from lower part. Okay. And this part also receive the blood. It is again blood from upper part. This okay. So this is something very important, and it is called therefore inferior vena cava. It is called superior vena cava. Okay. It means vena cava, when I say vena cava, it is the biggest vein. You should know this, okay? And there are four chambers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 chambers are there, and this chamber is called. This part is right. This part is left. Okay, this always right. This is easy for you. When you stand, if I'm standing in front of this is my. If I'm standing like this is my right hand. It is crisscross. I have a left hand crisscross. Always learn this way. For the living things, we always crisscross our hand when we is facing to each other. Okay. Otherwise, blackboard, if I say blackboard, this part is right, this part is left for blackboard. It's non-living. For the living, always we crisscross our hands. So of the heart, this part is left, this part is right. So this part is, I'm writing with the green color so it's easy to understand. This is right auricle, this part is right ventricle. This part is left auricle, this part is left ventricle. So first thing, let me talk about the chambers. There are 4 chambers. We'll learn one by one. Let us talk about chambers first. So there are 4 chambers of the heart. 1, 2, 3, 4. And upper two chambers are called upper chambers. Upper chambers, 4 chambers. Upper two chambers are called upper chambers are called auricle, also called atrium. This please keep. Atrium means any upper compartment. Meaning of atrium is upper compartment. Therefore, the upper compartment, upper chambers, therefore they are called atrium. I hope up to here I am clear, class. I hope what I am explaining you are understanding. Today, what happened? Nobody is saying anything to you. All are fine, class? No answer? I hope my students are fine. I hope every clarity is there. Okay, thank you, Dikshan Yadav. Good. Okay. So I was talking about and lower chambers. These two lower chambers are called ventricles. And these two, if you talk about the heart, this part is called septum. This part is septum. Its main job of the septum to separate deoxy or to separate oxygenated blood and to separate oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Okay. Therefore, just because of the septum, these two blood would never mix. So this part contains always in this part of the heart contains deoxygenated blood and left part of the heart contains oxygenated blood. Just because of the septum, these two blood could not mix. And it has some special name also. This septum, if we talk about, this septum, the two parts are there of septum. I should. Okay, fine. I'm telling you. So I can rub this part. I can explain. Otherwise, it would be a mess. Chambers, I told you. Let me tell you some more about the septum. There is one septum. There is one more septum. Okay. This septum and this septum is called interauricular. This part, because this septum is between auricles, so it is called interauricular septum. And this septum is between ventricles, so this part is called interventricular septum. So these things you should know actually. Therefore, I'm telling you purposely because what I'm trying here, you should know all the parts of the heart with their exact function. So I'm trying to tell you. I hope up to here I'm clear. So if you talk about the function, so I told you septum function. I told you here only just now. Let us understand the function of this chambers. See, function of these two auricles. Keep in mind, these auricles, they have to pump the blood to the next chamber. I repeat, if I talk about the function of these two auricles, right auricle's function is to pump the blood to right ventricle, and function of left auricle is to pump the blood to the next chamber, that is left ventricle. This is the only function. And if you talk about the function of these ventricles, let us understand. This is the blood, and then this blood may move out, and then let's understand from here. Blood would enter from here and goes out. So you can see, but with the help of color, blue arrows I'm using for the deoxygenated blood, and for the red arrows I'm showing actually oxygenated blood. Okay, you could understand this. Let me label this part, then I'll explain you more. But let me tell you this one. This left auricle receives blood from, actually it is explain this part to you. Here blood is from lungs, and here these two, if you talk about this blood from body parts, body organs. So whenever this from body organs, blood is deoxygenated, and they are called vein. Vein means, veins I told you carries, when I say vein always carry blood with a weight. They always, near the blood vessels carry blood from organ to heart. This please keep in mind. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Let me check. I hope clarity is there. Okay, so when you talk about vein, veins are the blood vessels which carry blood from organ to heart. Therefore, it is a name given to this. Or when I say vein, it is the meaning of the vein. When I say vein means it is a blood vessel which carries blood from organ to heart. That is vein. But class, when I say artery, these are, when I say artery, any artery, these are the blood vessels which carry blood from heart to body organs. This is something very important. You understand this word? When I say vein, these are the blood vessels which carry blood from body organ to heart. And when I say artery, these are the blood vessels which carry blood from heart to body organs. This is, so therefore this is actually artery, and name of this artery is aorta. Aorta is the biggest artery. These are very important things. I'm trying my best because I understand it may be complicated, but if you understand things one by one, things would be clear to you. So therefore I'm trying my best to go slow. So I hope whatever I explained you up to now, it is clear to everybody. I hope my speed is fine. Okay, fine, Archika. So I could see your Archika is answering me. Okay, so this is about, I repeat, this part is aorta, and so let's understand this one. See, from the body part, two veins, from the lower part of the body, from the upper part of the body, two veins would carry blood from body parts into right auricle. Then right auricle pumps the blood into right ventricle. This right ventricle pumps the blood to, understand, to lungs. And in lungs, oxygenation takes place because this blood is deoxygenated, and in lungs can, because during our breathing we take in the oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide. So from the blood, carbon dioxide is taken out of the body, and our lungs receives oxygen. So oxygenation takes place in lungs, and then this blood changes into, this is actually deoxygenated blood, and then this blood changes into oxygenated blood. And then from the lungs, I have written here, from the lungs, this is actually oxygenated blood. And this right auricle receives four pulmonary artery. There are four arteries, and two from each lungs. Okay, this is something very important because you should know the number also. I'm trying to tell you all. So I want to tell you, from lungs, this part it is called pulmonary artery. Sorry, this is from the lungs to heart. It should be pulmonary vein. These are the pulmonary vein. Please write this. Okay, fine. And this one, this is pulmonary artery. Okay, so I hope it is clear what I did. Let me tell you this part to see. This blood vessel is called pulmonary artery. It is the only, normally I told you this, I told you vein, artery the definition, but always in veins there is, in always in veins there is deoxygenated blood, and normally in all the parts of the body these arteries carry oxygenated blood, but these two, pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein, both are exceptions, because in this artery blood is oxygenated. You can see this blood vessel name is pulmonary artery, and it carries actually deoxygenated blood, exception. And from the lungs blood is received by this left auricle. There are four blood vessels. These are called pulmonary vein. Four means it. I could say this. This left auricle receives four pulmonary vein, two from each lung, and this is pulmonary vein. And as the name says, it is vein, but exception is there because this vein, this pulmonary vein, carries actually. It is a vein, but it carries actually oxygen. You can see the color. It carries actually oxygenated blood. So then from here, these two auricles pump the blood at a time together. Something like this. These are two auricles. These auricles pump the blood together. These two auricles pump the blood together, and then at same time blood is received by these two ventricles. And ventricles pump the heart. I want to say here, auricles pumps the blood into ventricles together, and these two ventricles pump the heart together and pump this blood together. At a time blood would go out of the heart. So from the ventricles at the same time this blood goes out of the heart. From this ventricle blood goes out through aorta, so all the body parts. From right ventricle, when it pumps the blood, it goes out to the lungs. I think this is enough for today. Okay, class. So I would continue next in my next class. I would continue from here only. Okay. So these are some topics. Please understand this topic. If it is required, please again watch it again, and I hope things would be better to you. So I hope whatever I taught you today is clear to you. Thank you very much. Stay blessed.